Welcome everyone, I'm Ati the Hero, and today we're gonna talk about the open world action-adventure game Assassin's Creed 3. The game was developed by Ubisoft Montreal and published by Ubisoft in October of 2012 for the PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360, as well as getting released for the Windows and Wii U in November of that same year. The game is also playable on the Xbox One thanks to its backwards compatibility. As it has been the case for pretty much every other AC game I've reviewed, this game also has a modern and a historical setting. The modern setting follows Desmond Miles, who has awakened from his coma that led to Revelations not really having any modern day story. This game's modern day story follows exactly where Revelations left off, at a cave in North America. The historical part of the game follows the half-English, half-Mohawk Raton Haketon, also known as Connor, in the 18th century colonial America during the American Revolution, who seeks to protect his village from the people aiming to take their land, and as an extension of this, find and kill Charles Lee. This game introduces hunting, trading and tree climbing to the series, while changing to parkour, fighting and assassin recruit mechanics. It also expands on crafting as a thing that you had to do, though not to the extent its sequel went to. Now to go into more detail, hunting allows you to kill and skin animals big and small so that you might sell or use their flesh and organs. The only animals that you can skin are pets and livestock. Most of the animals that you can skin, however, you will find in the wilderness between the cities the game calls the frontier. As for trading, there are general stores scattered across the parts of America you get to visit, these being Boston, New York, the Davenport homestead and the frontier. Once you've got everything set up at the homestead and visited these, you can send cargo to the general stores for selling, but beware, as the more expensive cargo you send, the bigger chance someone will try to steal it. Tree climbing is pretty much just what you'd expect. It's parkour, but with trees! Speaking of parkour, it's been changed from a 3-button input to a 2-button one, signaling the start of parkour getting dumbed down in the series. Though it does have vaulting, so it has that over its predecessors. As for fighting, it's also been changed to an easier but simpler version. Instead of there being a normal and a defense mode you can switch between during fights, both modes were cut in half, and their most useful parts made it into this game's fighting mechanic. The assassin recruit system retains the whole sending recruits all over the place for missions part, and you can still call on them for help, and they actually have more uses than just assassination. And yet, I always completely forget that it's a thing because I never use it. Why is that? Well, unlike in Brotherhood and Revelations, there's no recruiting people off the streets. Or at least, not in the same manner it was in the two I just mentioned. You know how there were mission-based recruitments in Revelations, while there were also random encounters with people in need of help you could recruit. Well, this game still has the mission-based recruitment, but not the random encounters. To move on to crafting, you can use the aforementioned animal skin and organs to make better weapons and upgrades for yourself, of course. But you can also make general wares, like clothing and barrels that you can sell at the general stores. You can craft a variety of things, but you might need specific settlers, or these same settlers being a specific level for you to be able to make everything. And now that we're so invested in speaking about settlers and things, what am I even talking about? Well, you expand the Davenport homestead by getting people to settle down on Achilles' land, where in return you get their services. You do this by doing missions all over the world to help people who will end up moving to the homestead. These missions can be things like driving away people trying to kill the settler or dealing with a settler's drunken husband. You also increase the settler's level by doing these missions. There are also naval missions, which were there to foreshadow AC4's... well, AC4. To speak of their quality, in my opinion they range from boring to anger-inducing. But seeing as how most of them weren't required to be able to finish the game, I can't be too angry at them in a review. The game also features notoriety, of which you can take care of the same way you did it back in the Ezio's trilogy. A difference between those games and this game's notoriety systems is that the old system has 2 levels, which were being undercover and the guards being on alert, while this game adds a 3rd level for the guards being suspicious of you. As for weapons, you have your sword and your hidden blade, but you also get flintlock pistols, tomahawks, and rifles. There are also forts that you need to take over from the Redcoats to liberate parts of the world from Templars. And this game also has the most gameplay heavy third-person modern day in the series. From time to time, you will have to go to some place to recover Isu artifacts, which are these cubes, to power the cave. Once you have these cubes, you will have to find where to put them and put them there, while Juno won't leave you alone with cutscenes.
In the hopes that you might be saved. She hid messages where none might find them, save for you and those within this place.
Fascinating.
Tired of it. The cryptic warnings, the threats. Just tell us what you want!
I think the graphics still hold up for being like 6 years old. As for the music, Lauren Barth returns to continue making some pretty good music for these games. Otherwise, I have no real compliments or complaints. So in the end, what do I think of Assassin's Creed 3? Well, I mean, it's fun, for the most part. It does have something going for it. The fighting looks good, expanding the homestead is fun, and trading can be interesting at times, but then there's things like the naval missions, the change in the assassin recruitment system that I personally don't like, and the entirety of the chase in the final missions that just ruin it a bit. But then, what score do I give it? Well, I think it's fair if I give this game a 7 out of 10. I hope you enjoyed this video, and with that, goodbye.